It focus on the risk management, software configuration management, software quality assurance, and based on the case studies. So first topic is introduction to risk management. You have to define the risk in the software project, importance of the risk management, and types of risk. Either it's a project or technical or business. So risk identification means you have to find the risk, identify the risk based on the methods. One is brainstorming and checklist through the interview, or otherwise you have to follow the past project experience. Risk categories: product size, business impact, and process maturity, or otherwise you have to categorize based on the technology. So that is the risk identification. Risk projection is you have to access the risk occurrence. So you have, based on the occurrence, you have to estimate the impact, either if the risk occurrence is high level or medium level or the low level. So based upon that, you have to use the probability and find out the impact matrix, how the risk will be raised in the project or the software. So example, for example, risk probability versus the impact table. So the risk probability means how the risk will be raised based on the probability. Based on that, you have to interconnect with the impact tables. So how its impact level is either the high or medium or low. So risk mitigation, monitoring and management, that is a RMMM. So risk mitigation means you have to prevent the risk, and you have to prevent the measure to avoid the risk. And the risk monitoring is tracking the identified risk and the new risk, that is a monitoring. So management means you have to consistently, you have to plan the planning to manage the risk and undertake the corrective actions. So tools for managing the RMMM means risk register and risk matrix. So introduction to CSM, that is a software configuration management. So the managing the changes systematically in the software project. If in case any changes will be raised in manually or otherwise it's a systematically, you have to manage the changes based on the software configuration management. So importance of the software configuration management is you have to prevent the confusion, that is you avoid the ambiguity. So you have to clearly mention the changes, that is a prevent configuration, and ensure the consistency. You have to maintain the consistency, then only you have to reach the quality software. And you have to configure the software and also easily to manage the software product. So traceability means from the starting to end, you have to trace the project changes and manage the changes, okay, either manually or systematically. So the main aim of the software configuration is managing the changes systematically in the software project. So terminology in the CSM, first one is a configuration item. You have to find out the configuration item and baseline of the software configuration management, and version, variant, and when to release and repository. That is, you have to maintain the separate database to store the software or project. So software configuration management process and activities. So first of all, you have to identify the configuration item, and you have to control the versions and how to change the control process and configuration status accounting and configuration audit. In that, the configuration audit is very important. Then only you have to get the quality software or the project. So first initial stage, you have to identify the configuration item. Based upon the identification, you have to specify the version control, and you have to fix the change control process. So after that, you have to configuration status, you have to accounting, either it is a valid or invalid, or you have to mention the configuration level. So the configuration audit. Next, configuration audit means you have to define the independent review of the CSM activities. So it is not a dependent, it is an independent review of the configuration software configuration management, because audit is a very important in every factors. So especially for the software configuration management, or configuration audit is very important because it's a independent process. So types of the audit is, one is a functional audit, that means based on the requirement, you have to audit the software or the project. So that functional audit means it's full and full depends upon the user needs. So physical audit means documentation and version correct. So you are based upon the documentation and based upon the version, you have to check, that is the physical audit. Based upon this audit, you have to benefit the integrity and correctness. So the final outcome of the software or the product is a quality and then error free and also corrective process. So that is the configuration audit. Quality definition means it fully depends upon the ISO. So it follows the ISO 2000 or 2001. So because based upon that ISO, you have to improve the quality and also you have to define the quality. So software quality means it's confirmation to the requirement plus fitness for the use. So the main thing of the quality is based upon the requirement and fitness for the user on the end user or the stakeholder. So that will be metered means your software quality is better, and that is called as a software quality. Next, quality of the confirmation is that means you have to define the degree to which software follows. It's a design or another requirement. So if in case you have to maintain the coding standard, then only you have to create the before that you have to specify the design. So that means you have to give the better design process. And so cost and benefit of the quality. So cost of the quality is prevention, appraisal and failure. It consider both internal and external. So you have to prevent internally and externally, and appraisal you have to maintain the internal and external. If in case any failure will be occurred means you have to consider both internal and external. So benefit of the cost and benefit of the quality is you have to identify the fewer defects, and either it satisfied the customer requirements or it meet the customer requirements or not, and also it reduce the maintenance cost. So that is the main aim of the cost estimation and benefit of the quality. So based on the estimation of the cost, you have to finally get the quality product. Before that, you have to follow the cost of the quality. That means prevention, appraisal and failure. So quality control versus quality assurance. So the quality control is reactive and product oriented and defect detection. So it's full and full depends upon the product oriented, but quality assurance is the process oriented and also it's a proactive, and it will be defect prevention. The quality control means you have to find to detect the defect. Here you have to prevent the defect. So comparison of the quality control is a detection, quality assurance is a prevention. So this is the very important in the software configuration management. So based on that, here the simple case study. So the NASA Mars climate orbiter failure. So problem is metric versus imperial unit mismatch. That means here the risk management failure is inadequate monitoring. So there is a no proper monitoring. So CSM failure, that is a lack of proper configuration control, and quality assurance failure, that means missed verification step. They are not follow the verification process. And final, the lesson of this case study is the importance of the rigorous risk CSM and QA practice. So whatever you develop, either the software or the product or whatever it is, you have to maintain the quality assurance and also the software configuration management and avoid the risk factors. You most probably you have to minimize the risk factor, and also it satisfy the user requirements. So overall summary of this unit is risk management. You have to identify the risk and maintain the project, and support of the RMM. You have to monitor and monitoring and management the risk. So software configuration means it full depends upon the software process and configuration audit. The audit is a very important part. And software quality assurance is a confirmation and the cost estimation. Based upon that, you have to get the final product as the uh, benefits of the quality, that is the improved quality of the software or the product. So based on that, you have to differentiate the quality confirmation and the quality assurance. So based on that, here there is the case study. So this that's all about the umbrella activities.